WFHK, W231CW. Our frequency modulation, it's 94.1. Pell City, Lincoln, Asheville, Raglan, Springville.
The River Studio is powered by Benton Nissan, Oxford, Alabama.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. Today, the nation marks the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. Remembers the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives today and the first responders and others impacted by 9/11-related illnesses. President Biden will head to Alaska to commemorate 9/11 from a military base in Anchorage in a break from tradition. He's wrapping up his trip to Vietnam.
Everyone in both our countries was working to make sure the people, no matter who they are, can seize potential.
Biden also paid his respect on a memorial to his friend and former colleague, John McCain. At the U.S. Open,
Novak Djokovic reclaims his crown in New York and reaches his 24th major championship.
that sound courtesy of ESPN. 19-year-old American Coco Gauff won the women's final. America's listening to Fox News.
The JP Dice weather update for today is calling for a mostly sunny Monday with highs in the upper 80s. We may see a passing shower on Tuesday. We'll have JP Dice on in a bit with a complete look at our river area weather forecast. There's a meeting set for today in Argo, where the Argo City Council is set to vote on the comprehensive plan, where Mayor Betty Bradley said that she and the council have been taking suggestions for the past several months about the direction that citizens in Argo would like to see that city head. Now, Bradley said they've had as many as 20 meetings on this subject, and a plan like this has to be done every 10 years. Now, there are some citizens in Argo that are concerned about zoning issues, but the first step is to either give the thumbs up or down to the comprehensive plan that is on the table in Argo. The city of Moody is looking for firefighters. Where Fire Chief in Moody, Larry Horton, said he is looking to fill about 5 positions in the Moody Fire Department. And he did say experience in the field would be nice, but if you are interested, get in touch with the folks at the Moody Fire Department. 2 of the 3 high school football teams you can follow on the River Sports Network were in action this past Friday night. The Pell City Panthers lost to Clay Chalkville. The St. Clair County High Saints had an open date, but Etowah got their first win of the year under interim head coach Blake Bone. It was noted last week that former head coach Matt Glover had been suspended by Etowah school leaders, and Blake Bone took over the football operations, and they beat Asheville 42-13 for the first win of the year for the Etowah Blue Devils, one of the 3 high school football teams you can follow on the River Sports Network. And the 3rd annual Lakeside Live music event, car show, and carnival is set for this Saturday at Lakeside Park in Pell City. Most everything there is free. You can find a lot of information online and on Facebook. Lakeside Live this Saturday at Lakeside Park.
News on the river.
And we also have these. Miss Tammy Wilson Hart, age 52, from Cropwell, has passed away. Her service is set for 11 o'clock this morning from the Usry Funeral Home. The family will be receiving friends beginning at 10 this morning at Usry, directing the 11 a.m. service today for 52-year-old Miss Tammy Wilson Hart from Cropwell. Mr. Joshua David Paulino, age 42, from Asheville, has passed away. His service is this Friday, 2 p.m., from the Usry Funeral Home. The family will be receiving friends this Friday beginning at 1 at Usry, directing the Friday service for 42-year-old Mr. Joshua David Paulino from Asheville.
Weather on the river.
Monday forecast update, a high of 89, a low tonight of 68, small chance of rain on Tuesday, a high of 87. Overall, this week, temperatures a little bit milder. We'll have some morning lows in the lower 60s, highs in the lower 80s. That's an update in your forecast. Meteorologist JP Dice here at 94.1 FM, The River.
Weather on the river. Enjoy in the mornings. 94.1 The River.
I thought I told you never to interrupt me while I'm working.
Everybody's voting for the friendly voice of radio, the people's choice. Music, weather, sports, and news, it's radio. The people choose. Everybody's swinging to the swinging voice of radio, the people's choice. Big fry, small fry, dawn to dawn, it's radio that turns them on. Swinging, singing. A million sounds you want to hear. It's a landslide every year. Everybody's diving in the smiling voice of radio, the people's choice. East Coast, West Coast, in between, it's radio that makes the scene.
Go ahead. Make my day.
7:08 on a Monday with a little Dirty Harry getting us going. We're at about 67, 68 degrees in that range. 89 for an afternoon high. Going to play one for my buddy David Birmingham, but we can't now because of Facebooky stuff. Freedom Will Survive. He wrote that after 9/11 back in 2001. We have Cretia and Rob Wyatt, 33rd wedding anniversary. Landon Harmon. Landon just landed in the birthday club. Harmon did. Also, Andrea Mulvihill, Kenneth Phillips, big Auburn Tigers fan. Wendy Jones and Doug Prater. Happy birthday to all of y'all. Bear Bryant would be 110 years old today if he were still with us.
He'd be very wrinkly if he was still with us, too, at 110.
Yeah,
Looking like
that'll do it to you.
A Shar-Pei, a little Chinese dog, that was all wrinkly and stuff. It is
What kind of cigarettes did... Let's have a quick Bear Bryant test.
Yes.
What kind of cigarettes did he smoke?
Frito-Lay.
Chesterfields. What was the design on his hat?
Houndstooth.
Houndstooth, which has become an Alabama staple. What was his two sponsors on his Sunday afternoon Bear Bryant show? Bud's
Best Cookies.
No.
And Sweet Baby Ray's.
Golden Flake and Coke. They
close.
said it was Coke in that bottle over there, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. One of the hotels he took his team to when they played in Birmingham was over there in Irondale. It was a Holiday Inn then. They shut it down about a year ago for drug activity and stuff like that.
Uh-oh.
It's on Highway 78. It's still there. The building is still there.
Mm-hmm.
But it still had, when they shut her down, the Bear Bryant's conference room where they had team meetings and such. I was playing drums at the Ramada Inn in Tuscaloosa because back then, every hotel had a band. And a lot of the visiting teams would stay there. It was way off campus. And you could kind of... They had these little, where they put the little fake walls up and stuff, divide up rooms, and I met a bunch of the coaches down there. They were having the Friday nights before a game.
Is it Bright Star's got that Coach Bear Bryant little area right there?
Mm-hmm. I've never gotten to eat there.
Karen and I got to eat there a couple of months ago. We met a dude there who had a little pull, and they knew who he was. Well, I won't say who it was, but anyway, they knew who he was, and it's pretty cool.
Well, I'm just going to do it from memory because I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It was maybe it was the early 80s. Alabama was playing a football game in Nashville taking on Vanderbilt. And before the week of the game, a young artist named Jimmy Buffett got in touch with the sports information department at the university, and the guy, I forgot his name, said, we didn't know who he was, but somebody looked him up. Okay. Gave him a sideline pass to go see Alabama play Vanderbilt up in Nashville. It might have been Dudley Field then. Pretty sure Alabama won. And he's on the sidelines, and he got somebody's attention. He said, can I get a note to Coach Bryant? And guys said, oh, yeah, I guess. And the note, a handwritten note on a piece of that yellow legal pad. Hey, Coach, I need some more points. Jimmy Buffett. And the guy still has the note. It's framed on like a Jimmy Buffett memorial and Bear Bryant on his wall. I lived in Tuscaloosa for a while. I never knew the guy's name. That was the SID then, I guess. And they actually got together after the guy said after practice, Coach Bryant would walk the practice field where his tower was for exercise. This might have been his last year coaching. And Buffett was in town to do a concert, and they got together and had a little conversation and knew some of the same people because Buffett was from South Alabama, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a pretty cool story. You can find it out there. Maybe Google Jimmy Buffett meets Bear Bryant. And it's worth the read.
Well, keep talking about that. Let's not talk about the game this past weekend for Alabama. Let's just the lack of a quarterback or offensive line. Secondary is doo-doo for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Who was the one DB who I could have played better?
Number 3, I don't know who he is.
I could tackle the wide receiver as they blow by me and do the exact same thing that cat did. He might have been a true freshman. I don't know, but man, I tell you what.
These are just young men making millions.
That's NIL. It used to be, back in the day, 713. It used to be, hey, look, they're amateurs. They're just kids. Bull crap. Some of these cats are making hundreds of thousands, if not million plus now, being a collegiate athlete. These cats need to deliver or get on out of here and ship them down to Auburn, and let's get a true 5-star in there.
Ship them down to Auburn.
I had enough of this crap. I don't want to be 5th. I don't want to be on the outside looking in for the playoffs. We need to be competitive. We weren't even competitive against Texas, and they're not even an SEC school, by golly. Is that the best quarterback that we got?
Y'all led going into the fourth quarter. I would say that is competitive.
Good gracious.
Led, I tells you, going into the fourth quarter at home.
Put in Callahan or somebody in the stands had to have been better than that cat we had under center on Saturday night, whenever it was.
Who's the guy? There's always one that they take a TV shot off when something goes really bad wrong against Alabama. He looks like a poster boy for I'm in a fraternity at Alabama. Except he didn't have a tie on.
No.
You know who I'm talking about?
No, they all look the same.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look like Biff Biffington just came from the country club.
I think it was his cousin Riff, but I mean, we're not going to be, too problematic here. But there was one shot. There was that guy doing this when Auburn ran that kickback. Remember him?
Oh,
Had
yeah.
on a little red and white stripy shirt.
I sat there like the cartoon dog that saw the hot dog, the hot chick dog with his mouth just on the floor on the kick six. I stood there and just watched. I was like, oh, my goodness. That was horrible, though.
7:15.
Glad Auburn won. Yeah,
on
congratulations.
A back at it Monday. I actually know about 5 or 6 people. They're work buddies, and they got to talking about wanting to go see the Auburn game, and they all flew out there.
Really?
I think it's near Oakland/San Francisco-ish, Berkeley. I haven't got to talk to them yet, but it was a dull, from what I figure, 14-10 win, but it was a win.
It's a win.
By the Auburn Tigers. I was watching with some of my family, and y'all were kicking field goals early in the game. I said, that always comes back to haunt you. When you're down pretty close and you're used to Alabama, somebody running it in or throwing it in with a circus catch, and those field goals, I mean, Auburn's king of that. They scored 44 straight times in the red zone. 43 of them were field goals. That'll get you beat in the long run, and it ended up costing y'all.
I just always had, as an Alabama fan, you just have a feeling, we're gonna come back, we're gonna win this thing. I never had that Saturday. Never had. The whole team stunk, man.
A lot of penalties. Had 2 touchdowns called back, right?
The whole team stunk.
Was the band any good?
I don't know. I didn't get to see any of it.
Were the lights okay for you?
I'm sure they were good. The Texas band, you see a picture? They had to have the telescopic lens way up in the corner to catch the 25 band members that Texas brought with them. That was great.
Joe Willie was the guest picker on game day, and he played against Texas. I think it was in an Orange Bowl. He actually may have won it, and they said he didn't score. That was in the mid-'60s. He and Steve Sloan were down there at the same time. I'm pretty sure Joe Namath and Kenny Stabler, if Coach Bryant had a doghouse in the backyard, they were in it. They stayed in said doghouse. But that game was a lot. Think of the interest at Joe. You lost a football game, my stars.
At home.
It's the end of the world, right?
Texas, we should have beat them.
Bear Bryant never beat Texas.
It is.
Well,
I mean,
Alabama.
look, we got a shot. It's early in the season, so it's all good. But I mean, really, if that's the best quarterback we got, I have no faith in us.
Were you wanting to see somebody else enter said game?
Yes. Yeah, the Cat's not getting it done. He's just not getting it done.
It wasn't. The last few y'all have been like way better.
Yeah, first-round draft picks.
Add up their signings in the NFL. Does it hit $1 billion? Probably.
Get that cat out of there. Don't we have that kid from Hewitt-Trussville, Bear Bryant's 19th cousin?
I think he's actually at Clemson.
Twice removed.
He went there, went to Arizona or Arizona State, and I think he's back on the East Coast. I think.
Get him back in there. Bring in Freddie Kitchens, man. Anybody but at Milrose.
Well, Joe Namath was on campus.
You know what?
A little older.
Should have put him in there. Hey, we had some high school football this past weekend, and congratulations to all of the teams that got some W's. Pell City, unfortunately, not one of those. Final score, Clay Chalkville 46, Pell City 7. It was, that was a tough game. Knew going in there that Clay Chalkville was loaded with some talent, and they showed it. The quarterback is every bit as advertised, 5-star. He's going to Alabama. He's not going to play quarterback at Alabama. Mbakwe is his last name. He's going to be probably in defensive back, safety, something like that. But he is really, really good. Played quarterback against us, and they got a receiver going to he can name his college basically in the SEC. Linebacker going to Auburn. They've got an offensive lineman who's 6'9", 365 that's going to Oregon, and several others big-time players. So Pell City lost that one 46-7. Etowah, they got a good win against Asheville, 42-13. A lot of folks listening to that game on the River Sports Network. Let's see, Leeds Green Wave, they pulled away from Springville in the latter part of the game, 23-7. Springville's got a pretty good team this year, considering the rough stretches they had last year. Springville may make a little noise this year, but Leeds beat them 23-7. Moody beat Alexandria 42-7. Lincoln lost to Southside 29-8. The Raglan Purple Devils, they beat Donahoe 66-0. And Victory Christian, it was a good homecoming for Victory. They beat TCC 47-6. Remember when TCC used to be good?
They made the state finals or may have won it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. Might have been over 20 years ago.
Let's see. Games this weekend. What did you send me? What's that?
My buddy Ryan went to the Auburn Cal game.
Oh, isn't that pretty? Nice. Games this Friday on the River Sports Network. Pell City is wrapping up a 3-game homestand, taking on Center Point. This should be a tough one.
This isn't homecoming, is it?
No. Pell City 0-3, Center Point 3-0. I think this is a winnable game, though, for Pell City. As long as we don't, we've got to take care of the ball, though. What? He's getting his wallet out for those listening on the radio or the app.
There's the tip bet.
I already owe you one.
Yes, you do.
From last Friday.
And you can have all of the Panthers you would like.
Have to figure out what the line is.
No. Winnable game.
I said things have to go right. We got to take care of the ball.
We got a great coaching staff. Mm-hmm. We got fine young men playing for the Panthers.
Yes.
You say you graduated from there.
Barely.
So again, here's a picture of George Washington and the Mason symbol on the back. All you have to do is say, okay, I'll take it.
I'll let you know when I come up with the line on
It'll
the
be
game.
like 26.
And then we'll come up.
Well, we should be able to beat Center Point. Give me 26.
Pell City will host Center Point, and then we have a bye. Then we got to go to Eufaula 2 weeks from this Friday.
Now, there's your winnable game.
Yeah, Eufaula is a winnable game. The second
Not a
half.
region game.
Hold on.
Oh, did you getting the dollar out?
No. I had to pull out some of my pregame stuff.
These dollars have dust on them.
Pell City, we knew going in that the first 5 games for Pell City this season were brutal. Here, all right, so the first 5 games for Pell City, Moody, Leeds, Clay Chalkville, Center Point, and Eufaula. Those are the 5 games that we have in the first half of the season. They win a combined 44-5 in the regular season last year. That averages out to 9-1 regular season, basically. 9-1. The first 5 teams that Pell City plays this year averaged out to a 9-1 regular season last year. So we knew it was going to be tough. We got some winnable ones in the second half. We still got Oxford, Pinson Valley. So have some tough games in there. All right, so let's see. St. Clair County, they are back in action after having a bye. They are at Leeds. That could be the first signature win for Tyler Robinson. It's going to be a tough one.
Be a good one.
Yep, St. Clair County at Leeds. We'll have that on the River Sports Network on Friday night. Etowah is at home against Fultondale. And, we talked about the Etowah situation last Thursday and Friday.
Well, let's talk right there real quick. It wasn't that long ago. Fultondale was a 2A team.
Yeah.
They're playing 4A ball now?
They're playing...
Etowah's 4A, right?
Yeah. But there's...
Is it a region game?
Yeah, I think some teams are out of region this week. They may be out of region. A very winnable game for Etowah. And, they're trying to get through some rough waters right now. Their head football coach was put on administrative leave Wednesday afternoon of last week. And their interim coach is the baseball coach. Coach Bone is the interim head football coach at Etowah now.
You know what else he is?
What?
1-0.
He is.
Yep.
Good chance he's 2-0. If things go right this coming Friday, Etowah at home against Fultondale. You can listen to that one on the River Sports Network. Let's see. The Moody Blue Devils, they're at home against Bishop McNamara in Maryland. I meant to text Coach Gaines to see what the tie-in is there. It's got to be a buddy of his that's coaching there now or something, because you just don't randomly pull a team out of Maryland to come down to Moody High School. So they're both 3-0. Should be a good game.
So this is a one-off because this year is kind of a repeat of last year's schedule, correct?
Yeah, because the way it works in high school ball is 2 years in a row, you stay in that classification, and then 1 year you've got the schedule. The next year it's basically flipped on home and away.
And they didn't go to Maryland last year.
No, they didn't.
So it might be a one and done. Don't know.
Let me look and see. Give me a second. Let me look and see who they replaced this year.
Let me run down the birthday and anniversary club then. At 7:25, we have Landon Harmon, birthday guy, along with Andrea Mulvihill, Kenneth Phillips, Wendy Jones, and Doug Prater, some celebs in the club. Tommy Shaw is 70 from Styx. He has Montgomery ties. And Philip Alford is 75. He played Jim, the little kid, in To Kill a Mockingbird from, I think, 1960.
They swapped out Cleburne County for Bishop McNamara out of, it says MD. Either Bishop is a doctor or they're out of Maryland, one or the other. One dude, got to be tough. Old Bishop McNamara, MD.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he set his own leg.
So you got that one. Springville is at Southside Gadsden. It's going to be a good game right there. Raglan is at home against Randolph County. Raglan 2-1. Randolph County is 2-0. When we come back, we got a $50 gift card to the Steakhouse of Helena to give away. If you've never been there, check them out on Facebook. All kinds of yummy stuff. They got steaks, they got fillets, they've got ribeyes, all kinds of good food there. So we got some stuff to give away and lunch for 2 to Triple G's as well.
industry rate, legal.
In the mornings, 94.1 The River.
Looking for a little more comfort in your life? Don't think you can afford a top brand heating and cooling system? Well, Carrier has the right solutions for every budget. And at Allen Service Company, they'll show you the full lineup of best-in-class home comfort systems. Turn to the experts at Allen Service Company, where financing is available, subject to credit approval. Call 205-338-2311, 205-338-2311, or visit online at allenservicecompany.com.
Hey, I'm Wally Marshall, Mr. Crappie, inviting you to the Crappie Expo 2023 at the BJCC, Birmingham, Alabama, September the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. More than 100 vendors with the latest and greatest crappie fishing products. Crappie Expo is the largest crappie fishing show on earth. Daily drawings and live music from Mustache and Jason D. Williams. Thanks Ford Trucks, Lou's, Strike King, Humminbird, Minn Kota, Beat Down Outdoors, and Lincoln's Landing. CrappieExpo.com.
Special thanks, Greater Birmingham CVB.
Benton Nissan of Oxford is your premier Nissan auto dealership. We stock the complete lineup of Nissan vehicles, offering a huge selection of new Nissan cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs, and top-quality used vehicles. Benton Nissan of Oxford is a full-service auto dealership, and our friendly sales team provides our customers with expert auto financing, reliable auto service, and top-notch Nissan parts and accessories. If you're shopping for a new vehicle, we want to give you the ultimate car buying experience. Visit our Facebook page or come see our state-of-the-art facilities. Benton Nissan of Oxford, 1834 U.S. Highway 78 East in Oxford, Alabama.
Want to hear something unbelievable? Hargray is unveiling its best offer yet. Unlimited internet for just $25 a month on a fiber-fueled network. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months. With unlimited data, or as I like to call it, unlimited internet. That's uninterrupted streaming, unending downloads, unmatched connectivity. All for the unparalleled price of $25 a month. Call 844-938-0786 or visit hargray.com/25. Unleash your internet today. Hargray, your reliable internet provider. Limited time offer. New customers only after 12 months. Regular rate of $66 a month. Apply. Subject to change. Call for details.
Judy's BCTs is now Aunt Judy's. Hi, this is Susanna Bischoff-Gibson, and I'd like to invite you to visit us at our brand new location in downtown Pell City, right next to the gas station. Same great service, same great designs, same great family. Aunt Judy's is your home for the $5 school spirit shirt. We can do shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and the list goes on and on. From 6 months to 6X. Screen print, vinyl, sublimation printing, sticker vinyl, and much more. Visit us at our new location in downtown Pell City, next to the gas station, just one block down from our old location. Check out our Facebook page, Aunt Judy's, for more info. Judy's PCTs is now Aunt Judy's.
Weather on the river.
Monday forecast update, a high of 89, a low tonight of 68, small chance of rain on Tuesday, a high of 87. Overall this week, temperatures a little bit milder. We'll have some morning lows in the lower 60s, highs in the lower 80s. That's an update in your forecast. Meteorologist JP Dice here at 94.1 FM, The River.
Weather on the river.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
In the mornings, 94.1 The River.
A buddy of ours went out to Berkeley to see Auburn beat Cal. He said they were downwind of the student section out at Cal, and they smoked more grass than Snoop Dogg at a Willie Nelson concert.
That's a lot of grass.
So I sent one back. Was it stinkweed? He said stankweed.
Oh, stank. Stanky leg.
I actually read into that. If marijuana becomes legal, living next to a paper mill will be nothing.
Go out
it's brutal.
Las Vegas. I was talking about this the other day, and we were at lunch. I don't know if you were with us. It might have been when you were out. But we were talking about going to Las Vegas. Somebody eating with us had just gone out there not long before. And, you cannot walk anywhere without smelling it on the streets in Vegas.
It has something to do with the oils. That's what Google said anyway, because I've been, why does pot smell so bad now? And a whole bunch of stuff popped up.
it's more potent as well. I would imagine there's going to be some man-made stuff in there, but if you are a policeman, there's only, if you pull somebody over, they've either never had a bath or brushed their teeth, ever, or they're smoking pot. It is the nastiest, stinkiest stuff. I mean, you will have to, if somebody gets in your car that's been smoking pot, you only have one choice. Sell it. Give it to someone you don't like, because that smell is never going away. Living next door to a paper mill would be a mere pleasure, as opposed to somebody in your family smoking stank weed.
Hey, speaking of, it's not smoking stanky weed, but Paul McCartney, you were out when Jimmy Buffett released 3 new songs. Well, he didn't release them, but they finished an album in February of this year, and they released 3 of the songs, I don't know, last Thursday, Friday, something like that. And one of them, I don't know, have you heard?
I have not heard them.
Paul McCartney is singing on one of them. And it just, when you're talking about marijuana and stuff, and the song that Paul McCartney sings with Jimmy Buffett on, it's called "My Gummy Just Kicked In." That's really that is one of the new songs. My Gummy Just Kicked In. It's okay. The song "Bubbles Up" is fantastic. I'm gonna load it into the library. It's really, really good. Bubbles Up. Everything with him is nautical or beachy of some sort or another for the most part. And Bubbles Up, if as a diver, they always tell either a pilot, if you go down in the water, or a diver, if you get disoriented, you follow the bubbles up, and the bubbles up will take you home. And
I thought it was a stripper.
That's what. No, it's not it. That is it Destiny who got our Alabama coach in trouble? Whatever her name was.
Y'all ought to put her on salary.
Anyway,
y'all got Nick Saban now.
Bubbles Up, a fantastic song. It's I'm gonna load it into the music library here before. And the other song, "Like My Dog," I'm not a big fan of that one. Those are the 3 songs Buffett released.
Evan Murphy is 6 years old. I don't know if he's been dropped off for. Ooh, he's not going to be in. With the September the 11th birthday, is he in first grade? When I was a kid, the cutoff was the last day of September. If you were 5 all the way, if you turned 6 on October the 1st, you didn't go to school. You went the next year. I don't know what it is now.
And you were one of the older kids, right?
You were. If that's you, yeah, you're going to be one of the first kids to get a permit, to get a driver's license. So if you are 6 today, because school starts a month earlier than it used to, but Evan Murphy, 6 years old today. Happy birthday, Evan. Landon Harmon celebrating 1, another candle on said cake. Andrea Mulvihill, happy birthday. Kenneth Phillips from City Market Grill and Buffet, he is celebrating. So is Wendy Jones and Doug Porkchop Prater. Krisha and Rob Wyatt, 33rd wedding anniversary.
I got a couple more. I just saw Tree. Welcome to the Swappy. Katie Young and Ethan Young both had some birthdays recently. And Tree, welcome to the Swappy, was slow on getting their birthdays. And Katie Young and Ethan Young, happy birthday to y'all out there. Get your birthdays on up here so we can tell everybody happy birthday and everybody knows who's out there celebrating. Again, we've got lunch for 2 to Triple G's that we're going to be giving away here before too long. Oh, crap! And we've got a $50 gift card to the Steakhouse of Helena. And Karen and I were going to go there this past weekend, but we kind of got a little bit of late start in the afternoon time. And then we had the Alabama game. Wish we would have gone now, not watched the game. So we haven't been there yet, but I've heard lots of good things about the Steakhouse of Helena. And we got a $50 gift card to that we're going to be giving away here shortly. And giving that away on the air. All right, before we do that, did you see, what time is it, 7:35? Did you see Bagley Elementary School? Did you see this story?
I don't know.
In the Jefferson County school system, in Dora the Explorer.
It's out in Dora?
Yeah, in Dora.
We were pretty close to there when we went to Corner.
Yes, in Dora. I don't know where Diego was, but Bagley Elementary School. You didn't see the story?
Apparently not.
All right. So a couple of first graders were playing cops and robbers outside in the little play area out there.
Used to call it the playground.
Yeah, playground. Shout it out, Adam. In the playground.
Or play area if you're from Miami.
So 6-year-old J.B. Belcher. JB's out there, and he's playing with a buddy at Bagley Elementary School in the Jefferson County school system in Alabama. This happened earlier this month. And so he's out there, and he does using his finger as a gun. Of
you got to
course.
practice.
Of course. Here comes the assistant principal that has an absolute willy. And then they write the kid up. And they were playing cops and robbers during recess. That's the word I was looking for earlier. And so anyway, kid made pretend that his finger was a gun, and they were going bang, bang at each other. Again, they're 6 years old. And so anyway, somebody reported it. And then JB, the 6-year-old, gets sent to the office, and the assistant principal writes him up. Disciplinary process begins against JP. The suspension notice states that JB committed a 3.22 threat infraction, according to the Student and Parent Handbook for Bagley Elementary. Article 3.22 is threat/intimidation of student. So anyway, there's this there's a lawsuit about to come out and everything, and just, man, I saw that, and it's it's close to home. It's Jefferson County school system is just right there.
It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
The idiots. What idiot has stopped at a state border? I mean, it might have started somewhere else 25 years ago, but it eventually gets here, and we take it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the kid who had a piece of toast?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he bit it out in the shape of a gun. He was 6 as well.
Yeah.
He got in trouble.
This is a Class 3 infraction that they've thrown on JB.
Is that good? What's worse, a 3 or a 1 or a 5?
Let me give you the Class 3 infraction that the other infractions that are in there with JB's pow with his 6-year-old doing a gun. Arson, battery of a school board employee, bomb threat, burglary, sale of drugs or drug paraphernalia, drugs are bad in K, possession of explosives or firearms on school property, or robbery, and making your finger like a gun. That's what the category is this kid is thrown into. Come on.
Was his finger loaded?
I don't know. Apparently so.
I'm telling you, once it starts seeping through the cracks, the stuff you get at the store that you blow it out that little aerosol can and it fills it in. Mm-hmm. Nobody goes to get any of that, and it spreads our way. Well, that's just sad.
Well, you got your governor out there in New Mexico telling people they can't carry guns anymore. Isn't that where she's from?
I haven't heard this one.
Oh.
I kind of checked out for a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's New Mexico is where she is, and she's banned guns. There's a horrible thing. I think an 11-year-old was shot and killed. Horrible. But instead of addressing the problem,
apparently leaving a gun on a table, probably.
Yeah. Instead of addressing the crime problems and the issues that they have there in her cities, she just banned. She said the Constitution is not absolute. You haven't. That's what she said.
That's a new way of thinking.
That's what she said.
Which I'm telling you, it's seeping our way. It's a mere suggestion now.
That's what she said. The Constitution is not absolute. Dang it! I hate getting into politics when the kids are in.
You did it
in school. I know. I hate that.
You did it. Now I threw out a tip bat, and you wouldn't take it.
Sorry, children.
Well, don't make your finger into a gun. Now, when I was little, we played Army a lot, and our goal when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, a machine gun that we had the one you kept having to pull the trigger. Remember, that was your machine gun. You remember those? We wanted one where you like pull something back and And, but I never had one of those. Mine was blue, it was about that long, and you had to pull the trigger for the little apparatus to make that noise. But we played Army all the time.
Oh, you go old school with the metal guns, and you put the little round cap thing in there, and you sniff it, after
you could take them to school. Seriously. Had a roll. They were red with a little black tip. And every now and then they'd get off. You'd have to fix, kind of like weed eater. It's practicing you for weed eaters, trying to set them.
Yeah.
And the little back of the hammer would hit that thing, and it was a cap gun.
You could never go more than about 6 until they got out of whack, and then you had to get it. And then, they had the round ones. They had the white. And there was probably 8 of them, and those were pretty good for the most part.
Those were less problematic.
But you couldn't, on the long roll of the red, that you'd use on the pistol, you could get a rock. You ever do that? And you could pop them like that. That was pretty cool.
Well, what you're doing, you were doing back then, you were training young men for eventually maybe having to go to war. I mean, it was a long, slow, hope they don't have to go process, but you threw them out there, and you would find your natural leaders. A leader at 6 out there in your backyard is probably going to be a leader when they, ship them off somewhere.
What was a great grenade that you could use?
Pine cone.
In the yard. Yeah.
There's two kinds.
You have to bite it off and then...
Okay, you got the pine cones that fluff out that might hurt a little bit, but then you got those that are just green.
The green ones,
and solid. Yeah, that'd be a class 3. If up there at school in Dora, you bring one of them and throw it at somebody, I could see where that would be a class 3. You can bust a window with those.
Oh, man.
Those things would smart a little bit.
It is 7:43 here on a Monday, September the 11th. Obviously, September the 11th is a day that if you were around 22 years ago, 22 years ago. So you've got to be close to 30 to be able to have a recollection of kind of, what happened on September the 11th. That almost seems crazy to think about that.
If you were in the first grade then, the president was reading to youngsters. I don't know if they were first graders or kindergarten kids, somewhere in that age, and somebody went up and whispered in his ear. Mm-hmm. And then it all broke loose. Those kids are going to be, that was 22, almost 30. Those kids in that room, you ever sitting around, president's reading them a story, you'd go pop up and then take some questions, and it always had a purpose. But it all shifted after that day. But those kids, probably half of them have kids now.
Yeah.
Some of them may have kids that old now. Yeah. It's been a while.
Because remember, he was reading, and they whispered in his ear, and he just kind of looked. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of was in a daze, I guess, if you will.
There was a thing on last night. I forgot how many planes were in the air over the North Atlantic, which is a very small portion of this earth, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't know if all of them was headed this way or not. They didn't know. And then they had to ground them all. And there wasn't an airplane in the air for the longest time. And who was the guy that kind of ran the show? He was the Secretary of Defense. Very household name.
Rumsfeld?
Dennis Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
He was kind of the TV guy because the president stayed hid out for a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
Not long, but it seemed like a long time then. And then he went to the tower site where they fell and gave the speech, put his arm around that guy and said, he said, "We can't hear you." And then he said, "Well, they're going to hear us," which I thought was one of the quotes coming out of that disaster known as 9/11, which we didn't see it coming.
We've got every year there's a clip that I've got, and it kind of pieces together of some of the morning shows when it was
a day just like this.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
I remember because everybody, again, if you were of age from 22 years ago and you can remember, you remember where you were and what you were doing. Kids Castle was being built in Pell City. And we had a couple of people that were coming up that morning to talk about Kids Castle because people were bringing tools, loaner tools and stuff, and the community coming together to build Kids Castle in Pell City, and it happened as it might have been Elizabeth Thomaston and might have been Eddie Stone were the two that were coming in. And as they were coming in, we were preparing to have them on. We said, we don't need to do this because we just went full time with
whatever TV station, national TV, and we just put
CNN. There wasn't a Fox yet.
You're right.
Yeah.
We just took the microphone and put it next to the television, and we just carried their audio for almost a week, I think.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot. It was a day.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, if you are of that age, you will always remember what you were doing. It really enhanced airport security. I'm guessing it's better. It eliminated freedoms too. I used to like to go to the airport when if you're a kid, take a kid to the airport, watch planes take off and land. Can't do that anymore. Can't get past. You can't even stop. I mean, it was not a good day for this country.
It was not, and we'll play that clip a little bit. Maybe right after the 8 o'clock news, we'll play that. Very somber, very sad. I tear up every time I play it, but it's a day that we have to remember. I mean,
we knew somebody who had a relative right in the middle of it, and you didn't have smartphones yet. There was a crew from France doing a documentary. Happened to have a video camera pointed upward, just because there wasn't security cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
iPhones were still 6 years away. You might have had some grainy footage from a little bitty flip phone, but we called somebody up there that morning or that afternoon.
It was it Meg Williamson? Somebody in the Williamson family, I'm thinking, had somebody up there, or we knew somebody that was up there.
I think they were up there for like the Boston Marathon explosion. She was getting married, right?
Maybe that was it.
Because Meg,
that's true.
Meg, I think she was over 12 when she got married. I don't think it was Meg. I can't remember who it was, but we had somebody.
Yeah,
might have been John Hesterly's somebody. It's kind of ringing a bell.
They were living in New York. Yeah,
they were walking across the bridge trying to get out of Dodge.
That's right. Yeah,
they were walking across the bridge. You couldn't get a car out. And I don't know if the towers had fallen yet. They fell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Within an hour or so.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, because whoever it was that we had going back to September the 11th, 2001, John and I were kind of, we had been together, a year or two,
that didn't sound good.
Morning or show.
that you could have rephrased that a little different.
I wear his ring though. But yeah, it was
real tight now.
We had a tie into somewhere, and we got the phone number of whoever it was, and I totally forgot. They were walking across the bridge along with tens of thousands of other people getting out of the city, and they were describing to us what was going on, and I totally forgot about that.
A lot of people, as they were getting out of Dodge or New York City, they had their phone to their ear, trying to call loved ones, people trying to call them.
Mm-hmm.
It was because you didn't stare at your phone, then you actually used it as a phone. There was some texting, but it was not everybody, because you had to hit like one letter, you had to hit it like 3 times. Remember that? Yeah. Texting really wasn't here yet. There was no smartphone yet, so you couldn't sit there and watch TV on your phone. All you had to do was turn around and look at it, and it was coming at you in a great big pile of dust.
It is 7:49 here on this Monday. Appreciate everybody watching. We've got YouTube and Facebook cranking up. We appreciate that. We've got all kinds of good stuff going on. Football coming up Friday. Did you see the weather forecast for Friday, by the way?
I have not.
I don't know if we're done with hot weather or not, but I was looking at it yesterday. Hold on. Let me let the weather app pull up. The high for Friday, mostly sunny skies, 83 degrees. Matter of fact, all week long, today looks like it's going to be the hottest day, right around 90 degrees for a high. Tomorrow, 89. Wednesday, 86. Thursday, 84. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 83. And through the weekend, we may get down in the 50s in the weekend. So it looks like we got some good weather coming up. All right, when we come back, we are going to figure out how to give away some stuff away. We got a $50 gift card to the Steakhouse of Helena and lunch for 2 to Triple G's. Fingers!
Well, here we are again.
Yeah, but this time we're seniors.
And we're going to rule the school.
In the mornings, 94.1 The River.
Life insurance protection is not for you, it's for those you leave behind. Buying life insurance will not only protect your loved ones if you're no longer here to provide for them, but it will also show them how much you care. At Alpha, we can help you find a budget-friendly policy that meets your needs and provides you and your family peace of mind. Call Alpha agent Jim Wilson at 205-884-3470 and take the first step towards safeguarding your loved one's future.
Want to save 10 to 20% on your annual heating and cooling costs? How about making your home more comfortable while increasing its value? You can have all those benefits by properly insulating your house. From caulking around windows and doors to adding insulation, filling those gaps helps. Your local electric cooperative wants to connect you with savings, and one of the best ways is by making sure your home is more energy efficient. Coosa Valley Electric Cooperative, your savings connection.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brent Button from Holly Automotive here in Pale City, Alabama. We are a locally family-owned dealership in Pale City. Please like and follow our growing Facebook page at Holly Automotive, where we upload all new inventory daily with prices, pictures, and descriptions. Please call me, Brent Button, 205-338-5355, or stop by and see us all here at Holly Automotive, 225 Old Coast City Road, Pale City, Alabama.
Forever Memories Monument Company has located all of their services to their convenient location on the Moody Parkway, where you'll find all of the familiar, trusted faces you've known for years. And as always, they'll do all they can to help your family find that perfect monument for that special loved one. Click on forevermemoriesmonuments.com or call 640-3040 or 884-3040, where Cheryl Pools and her staff will take great care of you. And a new location opening soon in Pell City. That's Forever Memories Monument Company, now in one convenient location on the Moody Parkway, where a memory made in stone will never be forgotten.
Since 1992, Trussell, Funderburg, Raybell, and Ferguson has been the team for all of your legal issues, specializing in general practice, commercial and residential real estate law, business litigation, insurance fraud, criminal and civil law, family law including child custody, divorce and adoption, personal injury, and more. For complete details, log on to tfrblaw.com or call 205-338-7273. Trussell, Funderburg, Raybell, and Ferguson, the team for all of your legal issues.
Get by Jumbo's Burgers, Wings, and More, where you'll find something for everyone. Our mouth-watering signature burgers, amazing wings, tasty barbecue, and delicious lunch specials. Like us on Facebook to check out our menu and hours of operation. That's Jumbo's Burgers, Wings, and More on Old Coast City Road in Pell City, just past Holly Automotive. Give us a call at 483-3366. Jumbo's Burgers, Wings, and More, where good food tastes even better.
If your home is full of old, broken down appliances, get in touch with Appliance Parts and Service. For years, they have been saving residents big on washers, dryers, refrigerators, freezers, stoves, and much more. Plus, they do repairs at your place or theirs. And if you need parts, they have them. Appliance Parts and Service, 501 27th Street North, just up Comer Avenue from the Pell City Steakhouse. Or give them a call at 338-8121. That's 338-8121.
The St. Clair County Pell City Farmers Market welcomes you to stop by and pick out the freshest eggs, jellies, produce, and much more every Wednesday from 1 until 5 at the Avondale Mills walking track, just a little bit east of the downtown Pell City area. And get there early for the very best selection. A growers market every Wednesday from 1 until 5. Be sure to find them on Facebook. And listen to the river to find out what's available this Wednesday at the St. Clair County Pell City Farmers Market, the Avondale Mills walking track.
You got to put your headphones on for a second. We took a little family trip to Fairhope. We have people that live in that area, and we found a nice little Airbnb. There were 5 kids, all under the age of 5. I just taped just a second. I just turned the phone at random. This is what the whole thing sounded like. The whole trip.
You know what that is? That's man,
drinking weather there.
That's a man who doesn't have any kids in the house. That's that's what having children sounds like. That was almost like when you're sitting in church and you're like, at what point, new mom or new dad, are you taking that child to the nursery?
Let me do that one. Yeah, I had to deal with it for 3 days. Y'all can put up with a 14-second clip.
Is that a legit for real? You actually loaded that?
Just so y'all could hear it. It was on my. I took my speaker up to the microphone.
Oh, it's great.
Literally, and threats to action. It's a ratio, right? You got 2 threats, action. 20 threats to action. 2,000. I'm going to action.
So there was never any spankings or discipline going on.
I jumped out a window. Would that count?
So you had a good time?
I had a good time. But it was it's a big, huge open room with hardwood floors, tall ceilings. It sounded like you moved a daycare to a basketball facility and turned the speakers on. You want me to play it again?
No. Been there, done that, dude. That's what our house sounds like sometimes. Not quite like that anymore.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow. I guess that's why the good Lord said, you're going to have kids when you're younger, where you can deal with it. And what's so odd, one of the young moms put something on Facebook last night. Susie and I are all the way back. I mean, the drive on 65 was a mere pleasure.
So the vacation was good, huh? Relaxing.
Compared to that. So we're like, coming back. And she put on Facebook, it was such a relaxing time with family. Well, 2 of the young moms, one of the dads said, if you want to, we'll watch the kids tonight. And the only thing I saw was papers flying when they ran out the door.
Lots of mimosas being ordered.
Yes, they were. But that was a big wow. That was an eye-opener. I don't know if there's any more kids. I think one of them is planning to adopt a kid, and one of the moms wants one more. So it could be 15 years before I go back there.
At what? And that brings up. So you never said it. You never said, shut the kid up, or all right, you've threatened him 96 times. Now give him a whipping
behind their back.
Yeah,
I never said anything to it. They're their kids. That's the last thing a lot of people want to hear is. Fies you. Oh, because I know all about kids. I didn't. I did go one. There were some cats that lived there. It's an Airbnb, and meow, they're talking cats.
They left their cats?
Well, it's like they used to live in this house, and they built another one right next door. They live in it, and they rent. I wouldn't. You can rent it out to some people like us. I wouldn't do that. Anyway, meow, cats out front in a chair. Here in the middle of the Alabama game. I went down there and sat with the cats and watched the stars roll by, and I was having a heck of a time. Because you know what I wasn't hearing at that very moment? There was only 2 or 3 of them there then.
It sounds like a bunch of goats.
I'm telling you, 3 days of it.
Anybody, we need to talk about that in the 8 o'clock hour.
No, we don't.
No. At what point?
I might have been one of them I taped.
Hold on.
I don't know.
You're in church. Preacher's doing a great job. He's the volume's up. He's loud. And you got mom back there who won't bring the kid into the nursery.
And
at what point do you do this?
I had 7 of them.
You turn around and just stare at the mom. It's like, come on already. Look, been there, done that with 5 kids. There's a point, moms, Dad,
Apparently
you're responsible too. Because every once in a while I lean over to Karen and say, "Take him out." No, he's gonna be quiet in just a second. Say, "No, he's not." So I take.
Well, once that decibel starts that I just played, it ain't going away quickly. I mean, the service will be over. The hymnals will be placed neatly in that little thing in the front. They're getting ready for the next service next week, and there's still a kid crying in the car on the way to the Big Bull.
You got to take them out, though. Don't disrupt it for everybody else.
Well, yeah, the church, but they didn't seem to. Bless their hearts is all I can say. I can see into my little crystal ball here, and it ain't good.
Well, it goes back, like you said. That's why they give children to young parents, not old parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have been, I don't know what they call DHR down there, but I'd have been in that jail.
All right, we got to take a timeout. Holy tamale, I'm choking on these banana chips.
Yes, you are.
It's all you.
It's all me. Well, let me just one more time, in case you missed it. Fox News coming up, by the way.
WFHK, W231CW. Our frequency modulation, it's 94.1. Pell City, Lincoln, Asheville, Ragland, Springville.
The River Studio is powered by Benton Nissan, Oxford, Alabama.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. Today, the nation marks the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. Remembers the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives today and the first responders and others impacted by 9/11 related illnesses. President Biden will head to Alaska to commemorate 9/11 from a military base in Anchorage in a break from tradition. He's wrapping up his trip to Vietnam.
Everyone in both our countries was working to make sure that people, no matter who they are, can seize potential.
Biden also paid his respect at a memorial to his friend and former colleague, John McCain. At the U.S. Open,
Novak Djokovic reclaims his crown in New York and reaches his 24th major championship.
that sound courtesy of ESPN. 19-year-old American Coco Gauff won the women's final. America's listening to Fox News.
The JP Dice weather update for today is calling for a mostly sunny Monday with highs in the upper 80s. We may see a passing shower on Tuesday. We'll have JP Dice on in a bit with a complete look at our river area weather forecast. There's a meeting set for today in Argo, where the Argo City Council is set to vote on the comprehensive plan, where Mayor Betty Bradley said that she and the council have been taking suggestions for the past several months about the direction that citizens in Argo would like to see that city head. Now, Bradley said they've had as many as 20 meetings on this subject, and a plan like this has to be done every 10 years. Now, there are some citizens in Argo that are concerned about zoning issues, but the first step is to either give the thumbs up or down to the comprehensive plan that is on the table in Argo. The city of Moody is looking for firefighters. For Fire Chief in Moody, Larry Horton, said he is looking to fill about 5 positions in the Moody Fire Department. And he did say experience in the field would be nice, but if you are interested, get in touch with the folks at the Moody Fire Department. 2 of the 3 high school football teams you can follow on the River Sports Network were in action this past Friday night. The Pell City Panthers lost to Clay Chalkville. The St. Clair County High Saints had an open date, but Etowah got their first win of the year under interim head coach Blake Bone. It was noted last week that former head coach Matt Glover had been suspended by Etowah school leaders, and Blake Bone took over the football operations, and they beat Asheville 42-13 for the first win of the year for the Etowah Blue Devils, one of the 3 high school football teams you can follow on the River Sports Network. And the third annual Lakeside Live music event, car show, and carnival is set for this Saturday at Lakeside Park in Pell City. Most everything there is free. You can find a lot of information online and on Facebook. Lakeside Live this Saturday at Lakeside Park.
News on the river.
And we also have these. Miss Tammy Wilson Hart, age 52, from Cropwell, has passed away. Her service is set for 11 o'clock this morning from the Usry Funeral Home. The family will be receiving friends beginning at 10 this morning at Usry, directing the 11 a.m. service today for 52-year-old Miss Tammy Wilson Hart from Cropwell. Mr. Joshua David Paulino, age 42, from Asheville, has passed away. His service is this Friday, 2 p.m., from the Usry Funeral Home. The family will be receiving friends this Friday beginning at 1 at Usry, directing the Friday service for 42-year-old Mr. Joshua David Paulino from Asheville.
Weather on the river.
Monday forecast update, a high of 89, a low tonight of 68, small chance of rain on Tuesday, a high of 87. Overall this week, temperatures a little bit milder. We'll have some morning lows in the lower 60s, highs in the lower 80s. That's an update on your forecast. Meteorologist JP Dice here at 94.1 FM, The River.
Weather on the river. Enjoy in the mornings. 94.1 The River.
68 degrees on a back at it Monday morning, the 11th of September. September the 11th was 22 years ago today that we had the attacks on America. There was some good that came out of that. There was a lot of bad. Obviously, the security at a lot of transportation sites has gone way up. One of the dumbest things I remember hearing out of that, somebody in position saying, we really should make that a holiday. No, you don't make that a holiday.
Mm-mm.
You don't celebrate. You can remember.
Right.
Like we remember December the 7th, 1941 with Pearl Harbor Day. You remember. You don't make a day off for that.
Mm-mm.
That was beyond stupid. But some people said it.
It is 8:09. I'm having a hard time finding the one. I typically play it. It's about a 6 or 7 minute clip, and it just kind of, it says things unfolded on September the 11th of 2001, 22 years ago. And we were talking about, I mean, you got to be close to 30 to be able to recollect, of what was going on. Because if you were, say you were in kindergarten, say you were 5, 6 years old, that puts you at 27 or 28 years old right now, and that's in kindergarten, if you can remember that. So, anyway, I'm trying to find the clip that I typically play on September the 11th. I found one, but it's not the one that I typically play. So I'm going to see if I can get it. And it's kind of as things unfold. It starts with the morning show, CBS, NBC, ABC. They're talking about what a pretty day it is. And they're all based out of New York and talking about how quiet of a day it is. And little did we know how it was going to change shortly thereafter. So I'll find the clip and we're going to play it here before too long. Very somber, very, very sad.
And the kids are in school now. This is so far into them because they weren't here. Remember when we started getting word? So we had a bunch of foreigners come over here and just want to learn how to fly planes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to know how to land them. No, they never mentioned landing them. A bunch of them. Yeah, what'd you do? Well, we taught them.
Yeah.
How to fly jets, and they didn't ever ask about landing if they got in trouble. No, that never really come up.
Yeah.
How stupid is that?
Pretty stupid.
I mean,
on our part.
That's pretty stupid on our part there. But that literally, at least word got around on that. And remember how quickly, once it was there was a point where we went back to life. And then they kind of pulled all the footage off.
Yeah, the government was recommending not to show it because I don't know.
We would look at foreigners like, you did this.
Yeah.
And like that one lady said, somebody did some stuff. Oh, that Omar, it pulled us together for a few weeks, the country. You couldn't find an American flag. And when you did, it was produced in China.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't find one. You could not find a flag to fly from your porch, your business, the little ones that you used to put on your car antennas. They were gone. We were patriotic for a little bit.
Yeah, remember Congress, they were on the steps and singing together, holding hands, and now look at the idiots up there. No, who was it? Have You Forgotten? Daryl Worley? Is that who sang that song? And he's got lyrics in there specifically about how the government, took everything off television because the government felt like we didn't need to see it for whatever reason.
Yeah, never quite. I think we weren't as politically correct as we are now, but it put some foreigners in a bad light because they flew planes into buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't loop them all into one, but, there were some strange looks. I remember I was a student at Alabama, or was at a game down there while the Iran, while the hostage situation was going on. And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that was hollered out in the concourse, and rightfully so. Back then was America. We might do something about it. But now we just step aside and let them move on. It's very sad. Lance is a big person of history. I would like to see his take on that. But the government, they pulled everything. It was before YouTube. You couldn't just go find it yourself. And for all I know, YouTube's taking it all off too. I don't hardly go look anymore because it is sad. And if you live through it, they had the year anniversary, then the 10-year. We're over 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still, is there any scarring left in New York City? I don't think so. They've made a memorial out of where those buildings were. And every now and then you'll see them on Friends or in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll go, ooh. It gives you that little, I think they've been edited out of some movies. Where they're just showing a skyline of New York City.
Right.
And it's in 1997 or whatever, and the buildings aren't there. Or it cuts short, before it gets to them. You think, okay, they edited that one out.
Yeah. And I don't think they should.
I don't either.
Yeah, it should not be, but I think I found a pretty decent clip. It looks like it's about 5 minutes long or something like that. And it's a bunch of different clips. From ABC, CNN, NBC. It's kind of chronological as you go through. I think there's even maybe a Japanese. You'll hear a brief, 6 or 7 seconds of a Japanese newscast. I think there's a Hispanic newscast in there as well. And I'm not crazy about it's got a little static thing in between when it cuts between clip to clip.
We can't help it.
Yeah, and it's part of it. It looks like it's right at about 5 minutes long, but I'm going to cut out, I think, the first, 30 seconds. Because it's the first 30 seconds is just shots of D.C. and the morning shows that they're going to and talking about how pretty of a day it is and this and that. And I'm going to fast forward. It looks like maybe Al Roker is where I'm going to start it off with. And Al Roker, I think he even says, it looks a little too quiet out there. And this is what it was going on September the 11th. Let me back up a little bit. You ready?
Got you potted up.
Here we go. It's about 5 minutes long, so take a listen.
Would you look at Washington, huh? I'm going outside today.
Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Number 2. Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center.
A la espera de mayores informaciones, saber qué fue lo que ocurrió, cómo fue que
Apparently, a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York.
現在私、貿易センタービルから1キロほど北にあります国連本部の
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
Yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway.
Running away very, very quickly. There are more explosions further down the building.
This is so shocking, of course, to everybody watching.
I've never seen anything like it. It literally blew itself into World Trade Center.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
David, we're going to have to cut you off. President Bush is speaking.
Today, we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
And the Pentagon is being evacuated. There is a large fire there, and that is the smoke you see in the shot that you are looking at now.
It appears that an aircraft of some sort did hit the side of the Pentagon.
It's a very haunting description that Bob Kerr just gave of that low-flying aircraft near the White House, and one can only wonder if that was something that ultimately ended up in the Pentagon.
We just saw a live picture of what seemed to be a portion of the building falling away.
Wow.
And some people were...
Jamie, I need you to stop for a second. There has just been a huge explosion. We can see a billowing smoke rising, and I'll tell you that I can't see that second tower, but there was a cascade of sparks and fire, and now it looks almost like a mushroom cloud explosion.
Let's go to the trade tower again, because, John, we now have what do we have? We don't...
It looks like a new plume, a new large plume of smoke.
Only one tower is standing. The other has collapsed.
Thanks very much, Dan.
Completely collapsed.
The whole side has collapsed?
The whole building has collapsed.
The whole building has collapsed?
The building has collapsed.
Heard a big bang, and then we saw smoke coming out, and everybody started running out, and we saw the plane on the other side of the building, and there was smoke everywhere, and people are jumping out the windows. Over there, they're jumping out the windows, I guess because they're trying to save themselves. I don't know.
And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words.
There's a haze everywhere. It's very, very difficult to see, but there has been a whole area has been covered by soot and ash. So it looks almost like snow. So as people are coming up the street running from the scene of this new explosion.
所有飞往纽约和华盛顿的客机都已转飞加拿大的机场。
I'm going to interrupt you, Senator McCain. These are the first pictures we have in. This is from Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This is where the United Airlines flight, I believe it is 176, went down.
Hillary, I need to interrupt you. This is a Taliban spokesman talking now in Kabul, I believe.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
قبل دقائق من افتتاح وول ستريت الذي انهار تماما بعد أن التهمته النيران. أول تعليق لمكتب التحقيقات الفيدرالي أشار إلى أن طائرة البوينغ اختطفت من مطار بوسطن.
That was, man, hard to believe it was 22 years ago. But, yeah, forget. And I haven't watched those images, in a long time, probably in a year, I guess. And watching those towers fall, and just remember how the plume of smoke, and you could see all the debris coming down, and then, I know you couldn't hear, or you couldn't see it, you could hear it. But the one lady talking about the people jumping out, and some of the photos of the still shots of people jumping out of the towers, and just head down, and just, how bad how bad does it have to be to jump out from 80 stories high?
It's got to be bad. The picture I remember from that, as somebody was coming down the stairwell of one of the buildings, there was a fireman going up, and he was clean cut, 26-year-old fireman, had his helmet on and all of his gear. He didn't make it. I don't know who he was. I'm sure he has since been identified. But I remember thinking there's going to be a big call for doctors and nurses for the survivors. There weren't any. There might have been a few, but when you have a 100-story building fall on you, nobody made it. It was awful. But they never really made that call. Susie said, I'd like to go and and help out there any way I can, because, you're still going to have, she was in labor and delivery then, still going to have ladies having babies and, wrapping a knee, whatever you might can do. But that call never really came out, because even in there was a lady that used to come to the Fountain of Youth on Monday nights who was in the Pentagon when it got hit. She worked for the government. And she was relatively young, so I'm going to say she was in her 30s or 40s when that happened. There were some ties to here, not many, because, if you worked in New York City, you might have had family here. But time is moving on. I wouldn't say we've healed, but we got so many problems going now. That one's just on the back burner. But once a year, we do think about it. And some of the TV channels, they'll be playing stuff tonight.
I'm looking at ABC News report they did not long ago. There were 2,753 people killed at the World Trade Center September 11, 2001. Victims include passengers on flights 11 and flights 175, first responders, people who worked in the towers. Let's see. As of about a year ago, roughly 60% of the victims have been identified. So there were 1,106 victims who remain unidentified. And I saw in another report something like, that's horrible, 20,000 body parts that they recovered and still trying to identify, at least to give family a little closure.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago today, as New York was just, and it's a busy place, but it was just going about its business on a gorgeous late summer day for New York City. And not to mention, the plane that went down in Pennsylvania. The Bellamy Brothers had a song about that. That was really good. Let's Roll America. Because that guy, former SEAL or something, said, let's roll. And none of them made it out of there, but they didn't get to drive it into any other buildings as well.
What was his name who said, let's roll? I think he was CIA or something.
He was. His name became synonymous with heroics.
Yeah.
For I should
Todd Beamer.
Yeah, Beamer. I should still be able to remember that. But yeah, he was. And there was a reporter who was on CNN or one of the news sources who was on one of those planes. And there was a lot of goodbye messages. You had your phone and you could leave a voicemail, and a lot of people did that. And a lot of people that got hold of their loved ones said, "Look, you may not want to know this, but you're on an airplane that's probably not going to make it." But what do you say?
Yeah, and I was actually watching and listening to one of those. It was nothing but phone messages put together.
Those are the worst ones.
Oh, yeah.
I can listen to the news reporters and all of that stuff, but the, calling your husband to say bye-bye, that's a tough one there. And you had, there were stories of people that, missed their train and didn't get to work on time, just wasn't their time.
It is 8:25 here on this September the 11th, 2023, 22 years after the world changed. World better or worse now, 22 years later?
It's 100 times worse.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Would we, say it happened tomorrow, being Tuesday, would we play? We played football that Friday night, if I remember right. We did not play college ball on Saturday. They thought about it for a little bit. I think Tommy Tuberville was at Auburn. I don't know who was at Alabama. Maybe Mike Shula. I'm not sure. But I remember one of the first games back, the Army, West Point came to play UAB at Legion Field. Security was a little heavy there. Planes finally started getting back in the air. They weren't full. Probably the safest time in the history of ever to fly was, the first plane back up in the air after that. But nobody wanted to do it. Susie and I had a trip planned to Las Vegas on September the 12th of 2001, and we never did go. It is 8:26, but it was about now. It was right before 8 o'clock our time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Let me see. I'm looking. It was right about that time. I'm just reading on Todd Beamer. Here's a friend of ours. She says, I watched a new documentary Fox did last night. She says she thinks it's called The Fifth Plane. It's about a plane planned for attack, but did not make it off the ground. She says she thinks it was on Fox, and she watched it on Hulu. I'll have to look for that one.
Huh.
Yeah, let me, let's see, where is this one right here? According to the 911 Commission report, talking about Todd Beamer, the Let's Roll, he was 32 years old, and he was on United Airlines Flight 93. After the plane's voice data recorder was recovered, it's amazing they recovered that.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, about all the debris and everything.
On that note, they need to have that just go to a cloud somewhere. They might by now.
I probably do by now, yeah.
But because the technology is there. Because let's face it, you go down in the ocean, you ain't finding anything for years.
According to the 911 Commission report, after the plane's voice data recorder was recovered, it revealed pounding and crashing sounds against the cockpit door and shouts and scream in English, quote, "Let's get them," a passenger cries. A hijacker shouts, "Allah Akbar." One of the terrorists repeatedly pitched the plane to knock the passengers off their feet, but the passengers continued their assault. And at 10:02 and 17 seconds, a male passenger said, "Turn it up." A second later, a hijacker said, "Pull it down, pull it down." At 10:02 and 33 seconds, one of the hijackers, anyway, the plane crashed upside down into an empty field.
That was a bad last few minutes for those people on that plane.
Yeah. Plane was 20 minutes of flying time away from its suspected target, the White House or the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And according to Dick Cheney, the vice president at the time, George Bush had given an order to shoot the plane down had it continued its path to Washington. Wow, can you imagine? I mean, you have to do it. You can't let the... I mean, I guess you could, but, how hard of a decision was that for the president to shoot down one of our own
with 100 passengers on it?
Yeah.
That was a bad day. And they come and go. I thought we'd be totally honest with you. I thought we would have those almost routinely. Thank the Lord we have not. Don't know how many have been thwarted at the last second and adding the security layers. Right after that, we went to, and everybody was on edge for a while. We went to Stone Mountain, and you take that little tram car to the top of the mountain, and you're like way up in the air. It was a day about like today, going to be 90, 91 degrees. Foreign-looking guy wearing a Green Bay Packers thick jacket with a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on there with him. I'm thinking, wow. But he didn't do anything. But you talk about getting your attention. What's this idiot doing wearing a parka on a day where it's 90 degrees? But nothing happened.
Yeah. Let me read a little bit more. Flight 93, Todd Beamer, talking about Todd Beamer, the Let's Roll. We got to talking about that. Beamer, his work required him to travel up to 4 times a month, sometimes as long as a week. In 2001, he earned a 5-day trip to Italy with his wife for being a top sales performer in his company. He worked with Oracle Corporation. He sold selling systems, applications, and database software. So he got this. He got a trip to Italy with his wife. He and his wife returned home on Monday, September the 10th, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Although Beamer could have left that night for a Tuesday business meeting in California, he opted instead to spend time with his pregnant wife, who was due with their third child the following January. He left home at 6:15 a.m. the next morning to take an early flight from Newark to San Francisco to meet with a representative of Sony Corporation, and he planned to return on a red-eye flight that night being September the 11th. United Flight 93 was scheduled to depart at 8 a.m., but the Boeing 757 did not depart until 42 minutes later due to runway traffic delays. 4 minutes later, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the World Trade Center's North Tower. At 9:03, which was 17 minutes later, that's when United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower, and United 93 was climbing to cruising altitude, heading west over New Jersey and into Pennsylvania. At 9:25 a.m., Flight 93 was above eastern Ohio, and its pilot radioed Cleveland controllers to inquire about an alert that had been flashed on his cockpit computer screen to, quote, beware of cockpit intrusion. 3 minutes later, Cleveland controllers could hear screams over the cockpit's open microphone. Moments later, the hijackers, led by Jarrah, took over the plane's controls, disengaged the autopilot, and told passengers, quote, keep remaining sitting. We have a bomb on board. Todd Beamer and the other passengers were herded into the back of the plane. Within 6 minutes, the plane changed course and was heading for Washington, D.C. Several of the passengers made phone calls to loved ones who informed them about 2 planes that had crashed into the World Trade Center in New York and a third that had crashed into the Pentagon. Todd Beamer tried to place a credit card call through a phone located on the back of a plane seat, but was routed to a customer service representative who passed him on to GTE Airphone Supervisor. With FBI agents listening in on their call, Todd Beamer informed the GTE supervisor that hijackers had taken over United 93 and that 1 passenger had been killed. He also stated that 2 of the hijackers had knives and that 1 appeared to have a bomb strapped around his waist. When the hijackers veered the plane sharply south, Beamer exclaimed, "We're going down, we're going down." Following this, the passengers and flight crew decided to act. According to accounts of cell phone conversations, Beamer, along with Mark Bingham, Todd Burnett, and Jeremy Glick, formed a plan to take the plane back from the hijackers. They were joined by other passengers. I'm going to name them because they deserve it. Lou Knack, Rich Guadagnino, Alan Bevan, Honor Elizabeth Wayno, Linda Groundland, and William Cashman, along with flight attendants Sandra Bradshaw and Cece Lyles. They discussed their options and voted on a course of action, ultimately deciding to storm the cockpit and take over the plane. Beamer told the GTE Airphone Supervisor, still on the phone, that the group was planning to, quote, jump on, end quote, the hijackers and fly the plane into the ground before the hijackers' plan could be followed through. Oof.
Yeah, there was nobody there to land it unless, I don't know what they did to the pilots. They might have been the first ones taken out.
All right, help me out here. Beamer recited the Lord's Prayer.
Well, I'm glad they did that.
And the 23rd Psalm, and the others joined in.
22 years ago today, reliving what happened on Flight 93 that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Some heroes. I was trying to hop online to see if there's like a school named after some of those people, or had somebody been from here or Trustful. Yeah, you name a school or a park after somebody that did something like that. They were heroes. It is 9:35.
I got my crap together.
8:35. My bad.
Let me finish up. So Todd Beamer requested of the GTE phone supervisor, her name was Lisa Jefferson, quote, "If I don't make it, please call my family and let them know how much I love them." After Jefferson, who again was the phone supervisor on the other end of the phone from Beamer, Jefferson heard muffled voices and Todd Beamer clearly answering, "Are you ready? Okay, let's roll." And that's the last word spoken by Beamer that the phone operator heard. Whew, that was tough.
Well, they've more than likely saved a lot of lives that day. We need to get out here and take a quick timeout.
Want to hear something unbelievable? Hargray is unveiling its best offer yet. Unlimited internet for just $25 a month on a fiber-fueled network. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months. With unlimited data, or as I like to call it, unlimited internet. That's uninterrupted streaming, unending downloads, unmatched connectivity. All for the unparalleled price of $25 a month. Call 844-938-0786 or visit hargray.com/25. Unleash your internet today. Hargray, your reliable internet provider. Limited time offer. New customers only after 12 months. Regular rate of $66 a month. Applies. Subject to change. Call for details.
Triple G's Deli and Food Store,
Formerly Triple T's,
has the best hot food bar in town. They serve breakfast daily starting at 5 in the morning. Lunch starting at 10:45, serving all the way to 7:30. And by the way, they are super friendly, and they'll get you back to work on time. Check out the brand new Ice Cold Beer Cave and check out their daily food menu on Facebook. Stop in, fill your tummy and your tank, and inside they have a little bit of everything. So for some superfood in a hurry, it's Triple G's Deli.
formerly Triple T's.
Highway 78 and Trust Ferry Road, Pell City.
Premier Centertainment is open and ready to entertain you and your family. Movie theater, bowling alley, arcade, restaurant, and more. Check out the $5 movie specials, or how about renting out a theater for just you and your friends? For the latest in movie showtimes, bowling reservations, and more, go to pccmovies.com. That's pccmovies.com.
The St. Clair County Farmers Co-op is your full-service hunting headquarters. You'll find great prices on fertilizer, plot seed, deer stands, game cameras, guns, archery equipment, and more. That's the St. Clair County Farmers Co-op, just off Highway 78 in Pell City. Stop in today and see for yourself, or call 205-338-2821. The St. Clair County Farmers Co-op, locally owned by farmers, with a great selection and old-fashioned service.
The Eden Westside Baptist Church has something for you, like small groups, kids and collegiate ministries, missions, recreational activities, and more. And 2 worship services every Sunday at the Eden Westside Baptist Church at 8, 10, and 11 in the morning. You can also watch those services on a webcast. For more, call the church at 205-338-7711 or log on to EdenWestside.org. The Eden Westside Baptist Church, a place to heal, help, and call home.
Do you think you're pregnant? Ann's New Life Center is here for you in 2 convenient locations, Cropwell and Leeds, Alabama. We provide free, no-judgment pregnancy testing, confirmation ultrasound, and one-on-one prenatal and parenting classes. You can earn baby bucks that can be spent on anything next door at Ann's Little Shop. All services are completely free and confidential. Ann's New Life Center wants to partner with you by walking alongside you in mentorship, sharing the love of Christ, and assisting you with material resources. To schedule your appointment, call us today, 205-338-4580. That's 205-338-4580.
Weather on the river. Monday forecast update, a high of 89, a low tonight of 68, small chance of rain on Tuesday, a high of 87. Overall this week, temperatures a little bit milder. We'll have some morning lows in the lower 60s, highs in the lower 80s. That's an update on your forecast. Meteorologist JP Dice here at 94.1 FM, The River.
Weather on the river. Enjoy in the mornings on the 94.1 The River.
70 degrees on a Monday with 94.1 FM The River. We are 19 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Todd Beamer does have a park named in his honor in, I think it's Fresno, California, a post office, and a building at a college where he attended. The guy that said, "Let's roll," and they might have saved 10,000 lives. We don't know what that plane was going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And bless their hearts, they went down a swinging, and I hope they get in their rewards today. But that was today 22 years ago. It was about right now. We kind of sort of knew it wasn't an accident. That first plane hitting the Twin Tower, then here comes that second one. And it's just by pure luck that it was a French film crew filming what, I don't know, in New York City, and they happened to have cameras rolling. Now it's so commonplace there'd be 50 million videos of it, but it really wasn't that common then. It was grainy video, but very good video. I mean, from someone when they backed way out, but my stars. And then when those buildings fell, that dust had to go somewhere, and it went throughout Manhattan. Remember, I don't know how fast it was going, just people covered in that stuff. Firemen became heroes instantly. The police did. Was it the Port Authority? Is that some of the people that were in charge as well?
Yeah.
I'd never really heard of the Port Authority. That doesn't mean anything if you live in Alabama, maybe Mobile. But that was, firemen would drive by on the way to a fire and people would clap, stand there and, and salute them, stuff like that. But it lasted. Did it last till Christmas before we kind of went back to fussing at each other about, hair color and stuff like that?
Yeah, we had some patriotism here at one point, but like you said, leave it to the politicians and
it's fleeting.
DC just to have no touch with reality. And here we are, yay! And it's jacked up the year of 2023.
Fresno, California does have Todd Beamer Park. I wonder if kids study that in school. That's a big day. Bad day, but a big day.
Yeah, matter of fact, I had a mom friend of mine send me a message that she said she had one of her daughters ask her some questions about 9/11. And again, remember, you got to be close to 30 to be able to recall, because that was 22 years ago. And if you were in the kindergarten or first grade, you're 28-ish. And that's how much can y'all remember from kindergarten and first grade? Not a whole lot. I remember Billy Schweitzer peed in his pants. It's about it from kindergarten. But anyway, she says one of her daughters asked her some questions about 9/11 for a school assignment. And so she pulled out newspapers and magazines from the day and the following days and weeks after, and said that they were both just engrossed with all the information, and said that one of the daughters took some of the papers that they kept to school, because I don't think the kids, and I never really thought about it. Dane and Anthony, my two youngest, who are 13 and 15, I don't think they really know to the extent. And you know what? We may, we got football. I may sit down with the boys this evening, and we, as bad as some of it is, and as graphic, just to make sure they realize how the world changed and how our country changed 22 years ago.
But is it part of a history curriculum? It wouldn't be Alabama history, but I think it was 11th grade. We took U.S. history.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I can't remember what all we learned or did not learn in the 11th grade. But a surprise attack, that's a big deal. It got us into a big one called World War II. This one, it got us into a prolonged war. We're still kind of sort of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The war might have changed headings, but ask the average American, which I am, I couldn't tell you where we're fighting today. I know we left Afghanistan in a very poor fashion, but we're still fighting that battle. And that way, terrorism doesn't wear a uniform. That's where you're kind of hosed there. You are fighting sometimes an invisible enemy that, came to the country and went to strip clubs and took flying lessons, but didn't want to know how to land.
Yep.
And that didn't set off a red flag. And, maybe they say, well, the CIA and the whatever wouldn't work together. And you're thinking it as American, what? Remember, they wouldn't share information. Mm-hmm. Maybe the CIA and the FBI is like, no, it's our football. And they one group may have known this, another one may have known this, but they got their heads together. Oh, okay. We need to look out. Something going on down in Florida where they're teaching these guys just how to fly planes, not how to take off or how to land. And thank goodness we had, there were heroics coming out of that. Who was it? It was Rumsfeld who was at the Pentagon helping carry people out. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's in there, and they're like, oh, no. Then we might have another plane. And do you think they didn't have video of that plane hitting? I've never seen it.
The Pentagon?
The Pentagon.
Yeah,
the pinnacle of security. Did they just not release it?
And not only that, but a lot of the speculation was: are there any SAMs, surface-to-air missiles, to shoot down any planes if Washington D.C. ever came under attack? And
never happened.
Never happened. Yeah, but then again, if they are there, I don't think they are. But if they are there somewhere, then you're not really thinking about shooting down airliners with them.
Well, the enemies they sneak up on you.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a committee meeting at Bethesda, Maryland, to shoot those bad boys off, and I wouldn't want to press that button either. But I'm not in that seat.
And we talked about that the last segment about how the president authorized the shooting down of United Flight 93 had it not been taken down by Beamer and the other heroes in that plane who took it down in that vacant field.
I would imagine had they taken the cockpit, which they kind of did, and had a pilot or a co-pilot still around, they would have radioed, to keep that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't, if you were flying an F whatever, and they tell you to shoot down a TWA flight, boy, do you do it? I knew you're supposed to do it.
Yep.
But, what's going to run through your mind? There's babies on there. There's mamas. That was a bad, bad day. And I was wondering, the way we've kind of glossed over and smoothed out everything, except people like you and me, do they learn that in school? Do we learn? I'm guessing in 1950 they still taught what Pearl Harbor meant. That was a bad day. Mm-hmm. Do they teach 20 years after this that, well, after that, whatever, freedom ain't free. Remember that? Yeah, somebody's going to pay the price for it. It's hard to believe it's been 22 years. The technology has been unbelievably different. Now, the security matters that went into play really quick. Did we go to school the next day? I don't know.
I don't remember. We were talking about this in the 7 o'clock hour when it happened. And everybody, if you're kind of enough age to remember, 30, upper 20s ish at the minimum, they were building Kids Castle at Lakeside Park in Pell City, and John and I, we had only been together a couple of years at that point.
Still don't sound good.
I know. I'm wearing his ring on my pinky finger, by the way.
Yeah,
he's got my class ring on his necklace underneath his uniform of the day, khaki shorts and black T-shirt. So we were doing the morning show, and Elizabeth Thomaston and Eddie Stone, they were coming in. Eddie was with, what was the phone company at the time? GTE? CenturyLink?
I think it was
Contel?
Sarah from maybe Andy Griffith. I don't know what it was, but it was a few phone companies back.
Yeah, and they were coming in because we were doing like weekly updates. They were coming in and we were talking about getting the Kids Castle built, and a lot of people were donating their tools so we could build this thing, and the whole community came together to build it. And they were coming up that morning, and right before, as they were coming into the studios, is when the first plane hit. And that's when we said, hey, look, we're going to go. I remember we had a big old clunker television. It was probably a 17-inch, if that.
It was the kind that used to go in those entertainment centers. And the Big L was still alive. Mm-hmm. And the I'm Fired line was ringing, WFHK. And in pure Lamar fashion, y'all might want to turn on the TV. Got a whipping,
mm-hmm.
But we turned the TV on, and I'm glad he called because he was at home monitoring that while we were worried about a hammer, and they were having buildings fall down upon them in New York City and Washington D.C. There was speculation the plane that hit the Pentagon literally just couldn't find the White House. It's in the woods. There's not a lot of woods up there, but it's pretty. It looks like a golf course all around it, and who knows? But I've never seen. You would think they would have a camera outside the Pentagon. Never once saw the plane hit it. You see it kind of sort of close from somewhere off or the aftermath, but I'm pretty sure it was Donald Rumsfeld who didn't get hit. He's out there hauling injured people out the door because it took out a good chunk of wall. It went in, several feet. The plane did, full of fuel, all that stuff. And then people start doing the engineering on the Twin Towers about, it shouldn't have happened, but nobody figured in that. They figured in hurricanes and maybe some fires that would be put out before it got to that boiling point, and the fuel that gets so hot, and there were people trapped above where it hit.
Yeah. That
was bad.
And we talked about this earlier, is the still pictures, and there's video too of there's the Falling Man, I think, is the title of one of the more, I don't want to say famous.
We don't know who they are.
Yeah, and there's one, and it's a guy, and I think they identified who it is, and he jumped from, I don't know, 80 stories high, and he's just going head first. His arms, his legs are behind him. He's probably hit terminal velocity, which I don't know what the speed is, but it's a horrible thing to think about. But how bad is it that you jump out the window and you're not going to make it?
Oh, you're not. Yeah.
You're jumping that high, but I can see that picture, and the guy just going.
The one I remember is there's a guy who tied some curtains together or something, and he came out one window, was trying to get in the window below him, and he slipped. And that's the one that I remember. I can't watch that. And there were people getting hit by people that were falling. It was just not a good place to be that particular day. And then somebody photoshops 3 or 4 people smiling on top of the World Trade Center with a plane coming at underneath them. Photoshop was relatively new. Then at least I didn't know anything about it. But the communication factor has changed dramatically. You'll see people running from the site, with their hands to their phone to their ear. But that iconic picture of that young fireman walking up the stairs when everybody else is coming down, that's the one I kind of remember. Really baby-faced. Looked maybe 25, 30 years old, and he just went to work that day, as a bunch of people did. I thought the casualty list would be way higher. You think you got 2 buildings that are 100 stories tall full of workers?
Well, it was a little early too, right?
Just a tad early. Had it been an hour or so later, it could have been 3 times as bad.
Yeah, because I forgot how many thousands of people work in each of the buildings.
Way more than the 2,700 that died, or something like that. Yeah. They said the only days comparable to that, as far as U.S. goes, is D-Day and Pearl Harbor, where you got like 3,000 people losing their lives all at one, air quotes, event. Mm-hmm. And that was a bad one.
The Twin Towers, each 110 stories each. You had the North Tower and the South Tower. It was nearly 10 million square feet of office space. There were 430 companies, and when both of them were completely full, about 35,000 people worked.
So it could have been 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Because, a few of them would have gotten out, but there wouldn't have been many get out because, elevators weren't working. Mm-hmm. You had fuel falling down on top of people. We do have to take a quick time out before it gets to be 9 o'clock. Every now and then you got to look back and say, thank God we weren't there that day. And if you had relatives in New York City that made it out, they were blessed. And people like Todd Beamer and a bunch of others that saved lives when he brought that other plane down in Pennsylvania.